Just tell us what's going on the ground in Kiev at the moment. How is the morale? Of course, you are anticipating an assault on the city at some stage.
Hello. Yes, I just came from the place of a missile attack this night, where at least 7 persons were killed. The mall was hit by Russian missile .U, and once again, just civilian object, just the mall. And it was it's absolutely explosion was so devastating, and it's so horrific. That's what they are doing, and that is a terror against just ordinary people. Also, what is you are in business also interested, and what is done by Russian Federation will also endanger world food security, because Ukraine is a breadbasket of Europe. What they're doing in Black Sea, cutting off the trade routes, giving no possibility to export wheat, grain, and everything else. First of all, Middle East, Africa, that will influence enormously the world markets, and millions of people in the whole world will suffer. So I just want to address business, just to go out from Russia, like already thousands of companies did, and to stop their business there. I address Lloyd's to stop insurance of marine cargo shipments to Russia and from Russia. That will also influence them. We need to do everything we can to stop this awful situation when they are shooting in power plants, nuclear power plants, with a great danger for the whole world, when they are destroying food security of the world, and when they are killing thousands of innocent people in my country.
It's a devastating backdrop, sir, given what you've just said and given what we are seeing from a distance as well. Do you see any hopes imminently of any form of diplomatic solution? I know the likes of Israel working on it, the likes of Turkey as well, saying there are some reasons to hope that a compromise can be reached. Do you see any hopes of that, sir, in the near term?
To say your truth, I don't know. Do you hear now on the background the explosions? This is artillery working, and that is the answer. There is no peace talks. There is no ceasefire. I don't believe that Putin is going to stop the war. He is a real Hitler of 21st century. Tell me, please, were any peace negotiations with Hitler effective? No. The only force that aggressor understands. Putin is absolutely the same. We are now in 1939. The German-Polish War started, but many people in the world still thought at the moment that it was just German-Polish War. The same now. He is not going to stop, but the Third World War has already started. So the only thing we can do just to stop him now, like unfortunately it was not done in 1939 in Poland, but it can be done in 2022 in Ukraine. So let's do it together.
Sir, I certainly heard your message to Western businesses loud and clear. This week, President Biden is due to make his way to Europe. What is your message for the U.S. president and its Western allies?
First of all, I would like to thank all these companies which are leaving Russia, all governments and administration, including the United States and UK administration, for sanctions against Russian Federation and for weapons given to Ukraine. But more can be done. Speaking about sanctions, cut off from SWIFT. Only 7 Russian banks are in reality cut off from SWIFT, which makes only 15% of Russian bank system. But what about else? So this is a fake sanction. In reality, it doesn't work. Also, embargo on oil and gas, and stop of buying of Russian oil and gas, because it's a bloody oil, bloody gas. About oil and gas, it is done by American administration. But what about European countries? They can help, because from the start of a Russian invasion to Ukraine, just in less than 4 weeks, almost 12 billion euros. Once again, almost 12 billion euros were paid by European countries to Russia for oil, gas, and coal. In this case, he will continue the war without end. So he should be cut off, Putin should be cut off from finances to afford this war.
A lot of people have been somewhat surprised at just how difficult it's been for Russia to make inroads into Ukraine. To what do you owe the strength of Ukraine's resistance?
Because it's our land, it's our country. We don't have any other option. Putin underestimated us, and I think that the whole world underestimated us. I saw the news at the beginning that American intelligence gave us 96 hours, and after this Kiev will fail. But I can say you for sure, Kiev will not fail, and we will not surrender. More than 100,000 people joined territorial defense, civilian militia, and me is one of them. I am among them. Despite the fact that I'm a member of the parliament and I'm absolutely civilian person. But thousands of Ukrainians who are civilians are now taking weapons in their arms. We will stop Putin. But what will be the price? And what will be the price for us and for the whole world? And just help us. We are not asking for boots on the ground, for pilots in the skies. We will do everything ourselves. Just economic sanction against Russian Federation and weapons to Ukraine. We are still waiting for aircrafts. I can't understand why old Polish MiGs cannot be given to Ukraine, that we can fight Russians in air, because we're holding the ground, but in air, they use it to bomb our women, children, pregnant women, killing pregnant women with their unborn children. Sorry, it's so awful what's happening. So please help us and we will stop Putin. If not, he will go further. But I believe that we will. I'm sure that our nation, it's real, the whole nation raised. It's a great unity of nation now, and it is impossible to win over the nation.
Good morning, it's Karen jumping in. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the tactics now being used by Putin. You mentioned the missiles, these hypersonic missiles, and we've been talking about the devastation of the use of that type of military equipment, but also the siege tactics. The Americans are picking up on this. It's sort of a plan B tactic now by Putin, given how difficult it has been for him to make ground. What do you make of how he's just seemed to have altered his military strategy at this point?
Yes, because I agree with you, because he just can't go further, because our army is holding the ground and they're staying in 25 kilometers from Kiev already, I don't know, 2.5 weeks. So they just couldn't go further. That's why, and it's the same situation in other regions of Ukraine. Moreover, in some regions of Ukraine, including near Kiev and in southern part of our country, we already started a counterattacks, counteroffensive. And we already liberated some small towns, villages. So that's why he changed his tactics to more terror, to using more missiles, air bombing, and using not precise weapon, which is so dangerous for civilians, because their precise weapon is not very precise, to say the truth. And secondly, they are quite finished with it. So they are now using old Soviet, these bombs and missiles. And that's how he tries to put terror on people of Ukraine, to scare Ukrainian nation. But it will work absolutely different way. People are absolutely furious with what's going on. And I think the whole world is horrified watching as like a 500,000 people population city like Mariupol, or 3 million population city like Kiev are just, Mariupol is almost destroyed. It's Aleppo now in the middle of Europe. It's Stalingrad, if speaking about 20th century analogy. So it's so awful, but that is his tactics, the tactics of terror.